Good afternoon and welcome to Not Minding My Own Business. I am your host, Russell Farbiars, your estate planning and elder law attorney. I am recording this special introduction to this afternoon's episode, which is an interview with Brian Chartock, the CEO of the Jewish Federation here in Reading, Pennsylvania, and Amanda Hornberger, the Chief Operating Officer of the Jewish Federation. In light of the unprecedented attack on Israel this past weekend, I felt that it was important to introduce this episode and acknowledge that this episode was recorded probably about a month prior to those events in October of 2023. As we reflect on the war that is now ongoing in Israel, some of the things that I spoke about with Brian and Amanda become even more relevant in terms of ensuring that we come together as one community to support Israel and its allies. If there's anyone who's listening who is interested in learning more about Israel or the Jewish community here in Reading, the Jewish Federation of Reading is an excellent resource. And if anyone is interested in sending aid, helping send aid or other support, the best way to do that is through the emergency fund through the Jewish Federations of North America, and we will have a link to that fundraising page in our show notes. Again, this is a very somber time, given the circumstances in Israel as they exist today. But I certainly hope that you will listen to my interview with Brian and Amanda, and we'll enjoy. Thank you. Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Not Minding My Own Business. I am your elder law and estate planning attorney, Russell Farbiars, and I am joined here today by Brian Chartock and Amanda Hornberger, both of the Jewish Federation of Berks County. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Russell. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. So, Brian, I'll start with you. You want to introduce yourself? You're somewhat new to the Berks County community, so if you want to just introduce yourself to our listeners.
Yes, thank you. So my name is Brian Chartock. I'm the current CEO of the Jewish Federation. And I officially began in January of this year. And I grew up in southern New Jersey and have been, for the most part, a New Jersey resident for my entire life.
So, Amanda, are we going to hold it against him that he's from New Jersey?
No, he makes up for it. He's a good guy. He's a good egg from Jersey.
Thank you.
Now, Amanda, you are a longtime Berks County resident. You've been with the Federation for a while, but if you want to talk a little bit about your background and how you got to where you are.
Sure. So Amanda Hornberger, I'm actually a Berks County native, graduate of Fleetwood High School. Went to the DC area for college, came back, and I actually got into the Federation world through the Lakin Holocaust Library and Resource Center, which is something that the Federation supports and funds, and it's located at Albright College. So my background is in German and international studies and Holocaust studies. So I've been there for over a decade, making sure that we do educational outreach to Berks County and beyond, and really connecting with our local survivor community. And then through that role, it's sort of evolved into me taking on programming at Federation. I've been with Federation for almost 9 years, did programming role, and most recently I've transitioned into operations. So now I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Federation.
Wonderful. And I'm glad that you mentioned the Holocaust Center, because I wanted to talk a little bit about that, because I'll be honest, I've lived in Berks County now for maybe close to 15 years. And the only reason I knew that center existed was because you asked me to notarize something for you, uh, which is not, good from my perspective. So tell me a little bit about the center and sort of the Federation's role in it.
Sure. So we're actually celebrating our 30th anniversary this year in April. We marked 30 years, and it was always a partnership between leadership at the Jewish Federation and leadership at Albright College. One of the cool facts about Berks County is we know that it's a community that likes to give back and likes to support things. And per capita, Berks County actually was the highest fundraiser for the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum in Washington, D.C. And as our community was fundraising for USHMM, our local survivors really felt that it was important to have Holocaust education in Berks County and really wanted to make sure that their stories lived on. And that's where the impetus for the Lake NHRC came from. So we've been around since 1993. We have over 24 Holocaust survivor stories documented, videotaped. When I started, they were all on VHS. So we've slowly converted them to DVDs. They're now digitized. We did a campaign this spring to actually get them transcribed, because we've found that one of the challenges, because a lot of them were filmed in the 90s and early 2000s, the quality is not exactly what we would want it to be. So we're working with some experts to get those transcribed and to get them into, I mean, they're accessible. Anybody can go to Albright. You can access anything that you want from our collection. We have over 3,000 items, but that's really where it started from. Federation always provided the professional support, the professional staff, and Albright supplied all of the other things to, items donated, make sure everything gets into the collection. And then we really work together to make sure that not only are we getting out to local schools, but we support the Holocaust Studies minor at Albright College. So I work a lot with the college students when they're doing papers and those sorts of things. And then we have a local family that sponsors a lecture on a Holocaust topic every spring. So the Yashik Memorial Lecture has been going on, I believe, for about 15 years. And that's always great because we have been able to really bring in some world-class scholars to Berks County, and again, open that up to the public to extend knowledge about what's happening in the field of Holocaust studies.
That's great. It's great. My grandparents are survivors of the Holocaust, so it's important to me to know that the community is so supportive of that. And just sort of a little bit of a personal story. When I was in Israel, was it Israel or no? I was when I was in now I can't. Yeah, I think it was when I was in Israel. I went to Yad Vashem, which is the Holocaust Museum in Israel, and I'm walking around looking at the different exhibits, and I come to an exhibit about a girl. Her name was Dosia Farbiars, and I almost fell over.
Wow.
And I did, I when I got back to the United States, I communicated, via email with the folks at Yad Vashem, but it's just one of those things that you don't even, it was so challenging to even, I don't even, because I don't even know how I'm related to this young lady who perished, but it was just one of those things that it really can touch you even when you're not expecting it. So it's great to hear that we're doing that awareness in the community. Now, Brian, what are some other programs that the Jewish Federation covers in the community? Because the Federation does a lot, and I don't think that everyone knows what it is.
Sure. Thanks for the question. So from a 30-foot view, so the Federation's mission in our community is to create what we say a vibrant, healthy community and inspire Jewish identity, learning, and promoting a greater understanding. That's all part of our mission. So some of our pillars are tzedakah, which is charity, social justice type programs and events, tikkun olam, Hebrew for quite literally repairing the world, making it better. Kihila, which means community. And of course, Torah, Jewish learning. So there's a couple different components of the Federation. One is the JCC. And the JCC is our Jewish Cultural Center. So, Russell, to your question, we do a lot of educational programs. For instance, under education, Federation operates the Lakin Preschool. We also run the Jewish film series. We have a community shaliach, Ziv Laskin. He conducts Hebrew classes, Israeli cooking classes. Another program we're very, very proud of and we continue to build in conjunction with Jewish Family Service is our Noontime Knowledge Program. As Amanda mentioned, also under education, we have our Richard Yashek Memorial Lecture each year and our Leo Camp Memorial Lecture. And now that COVID is hopefully behind us or good, the Federation will continue leading missions to Israel. Some of our youth programming that, again, we've been involved with and we continue to innovate and strengthen is our PJ Library, our youth programming, volunteering. And of course, none of this is possible under the education component of Federation without our community, our greater community, and our partnerships with the synagogues in our community. RCOS, KZ, Chabad, all of these programs are just but a sampling of what the Jewish Cultural Center and Federation do together. The other side of the coin is, they're both heads, the other side of the coin, that's Jewish Family Services. And the programming for Jewish Family Service, again, Friendship Circle, counseling services, advocacy, twice monthly food pantries, all of these are just a taste of what the Jewish Federation brings not only to the Jewish community of Reading Berks, but to the greater community.
Wonderful. Now, I know that one of the components also is our social services. So what are some, if you want to talk a little bit about what some of the social services that the Federation provides?
So just expanding on some of the things that Brian mentioned, we do a lot of things for our seniors and our aging population, but that doesn't have to just be that age group. We have 2 social workers on staff and they do a lot of outreach. Sometimes it's helping with rent. Sometimes it's helping someone find a job. Other times it's, making sure that they have the supplies that they need before the school year starts or they move to a new place. A lot of the senior services are educational, so how to prepare for Medicaid and Medicare and Social Security. We do twice a month lunches for our seniors, and a lot of them are pretty homebound. They don't leave the home that often, but they come to our office for this meal, and it's really important to have that socialization. And then around the major Jewish holidays, we make sure that, again, they may not have the ability to get to synagogue for a service, so we'll do a Seder for Passover or for Rosh Hashanah. We try to make sure that we have that. And then 2 of the largest programs that we currently have are these food pantries that we run with the support of Helping Harvest and the United Way of Berks County. And they are located in 2 different parts of the city of Reading, and they have just grown. Unfortunately, because of COVID, because of inflation, the need in our community for food has continued to rise and is ever increasing. So what started as a 60-person food pantry is now, last week they had 200 families. Our one that was about 100 families is now about 400 families. So that takes a lot of time and energy, not only from our staff, but we have a lot of dedicated volunteers, Jewish and non-Jewish, who without their support, we would not be able to pull off those programs every month.
Absolutely. And I know from, some presentations I've been to with Helping Harvest that the increase in need since from pre-pandemic to now has just been dramatic. Like it's unbelievable. and it's not getting better. I mean, people really were obviously in a tough spot during the pandemic, but they're still in a tough spot, even though we're coming out of that.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And I think there's a misconception that a lot of people might have that it's just city residents, people from Reading School District. Brian and I can attest, we've run the numbers, we've reported data to United Way. It's almost every school district from the county have come to our food pantries. And they, if someone's coming from Fleetwood School District to a pantry in the city of Reading, they're coming because they have a need, not because they want to wait in line for 2 hours to get a box of food. So I think that's one of the misconceptions, is that it's really a city problem. But unfortunately, what we're finding, especially post-pandemic, is it's really affecting people in a much broader sense. These are people who have full-time jobs who just cannot keep up with the pace of inflation to get food to feed their families. So I think that goes back to the Jewish values that Brian mentioned, is that's why it's important for us to maintain these programs, because that's really at the core of what Federation does.
now, I also want you, if you guys can expand a little bit on, some of the other education programs, like for instance, there's the PJ Library program, and then also, Amanda, I think you run another literature program throughout the county.
Yeah, so PJ Library is our partner program with the Harold Grinspoon Foundation out of Massachusetts. And it's sort of like Dolly Parton's book program, where the goal is to get free Jewish themed books into the homes of families raising Jewish children. So it's fabulous. They get a free book every month in the mail from 0 to 8. And then they have an expansion program called PJ Our Way for 8.5-year-olds through age 12. So really for 12 years of your life, you can get these fabulous books. So we do a lot of programming around the books, around the authors. And then 5 years ago, we decided to partner with the Jewish Book Council, which is a national organization, and the Exeter Community Library to found Literature Berks. So again, bringing Jewish themed books or Jewish authors to Berks County. And we have had just phenomenal authors. We've had great success. We get people from all over the county to come to these programs, read these books, and it's a wide range of topic. Historical fiction is always a fan favorite, but we do a lot of stuff with JFS. So we'll have someone come and talk about aging. We had someone talking about preparing for end of life and, counseling for children. We've had children's book authors. Some of the coolest ones that we've had is we've had a couple of authors who we've made their books into story walks at the library, and it's a very interactive outdoor experience for families, and it's introducing, again, these Jewish values in a very family friendly way, but that's accessible to everybody. We're going to put a book up there that's going to talk about taking care of others and repairing the world. That's really universal and kind of gets Federation's name out there. So that's been one of our more successful, and honestly, for me as an avid reader, one of my favorite projects to work on.
Oh, I'm sure. Now, Brian, we're not holding it against you that you're from New Jersey, but tell me,
nothing taken.
How did you get started in the line of work that led you to being the CEO of the Jewish Federation of Berks County?
Sure. So I've always been involved. I've always been inquisitive of my Judaism. So when I was much younger, I attended a Solomon Schechter school for the first 8 formative years of my education. And then when I decided to go to college, I applied and was accepted into what's known as the joint program. And it's a dual degree program between Columbia University School of General Studies and the Jewish Theological Seminary. Okay. So not knowing what I wanted to do with my professional life, I've always been purpose-driven, I think. And I've always thought, well, I don't know if I want to be involved with the Jewish aspect, as I'll call it, throughout my professional career. But I've always known deep down that Judaism was a guiding factor in my life. So I completed this program. I worked a few years in what I'll call the secular world. And I had an opportunity when I was in my late 20s to apply for an executive director of a medium-sized synagogue in New Jersey, in Central Jersey. And I looked at the job description. Then it wasn't online. It was in the Philadelphia Jewish Exponent. And I remember that I love the business aspect. I love the community engagement aspect. And I also love the religious aspect. So to me, this was my first inkling that, hey, I can be driven by this inner purpose and at the same time make a living. So I pursued that. And for the better part of my career, I was involved as an executive director type within synagogues. I volunteered at the Jewish Community Foundation over the years. I was on the exec committee and board of the Jewish Community Foundation of Princeton. And I was involved as a volunteer with Jewish Family Services in New Jersey and with Federation and Rutgers Hillel. And having stayed involved with this, when the opportunity came to be a part of the Reading Jewish community, the more I got to know everyone, the lay leaders, the staff, and frankly, the community, the more I felt that this was a place that my family and I could call a home.
And now, since you've come to Berks County, what are you enjoying about Berks County now that you're here?
So I enjoy the people, and not just the people that I work with, and not just our volunteers, but when I'm out and about, just talking to people, I found overwhelmingly folks to be very friendly, warm, and welcoming.
Wonderful. Well, we are happy to have you in our community. So one thing that perhaps might be interesting to talk about is, obviously the Jewish Federation exists to support the Jewish community. How can the Jewish Federation support the non-Jewish community? And what role does the Federation play, not just in supporting Jews, but in supporting non-Jews?
Sure. Amanda, I was going to speak about Grok a bit.
Yeah, that's good. That's where I was going to start with. But...
All right, great. So please, I'm going to speak a little, then I'll turn it over to you, if that's okay.
Okay, sure.
So my predecessor, Bill Franklin, and Amanda, they were very instrumental in bringing a new focus to the Federation. And they established the Greater Reading Unity Coalition. And the Greater Reading Unity Coalition is, of which the Federation is a part of, Russell. Mm-hmm. And that includes, and Amanda, please correct me if I omit any organization, but it's Central Hispano, NAACP, LGBT Center, and Islamic Center, and
Bring the Change.
Right. So, and what we do, Russell, as in this communal partnership, so it's beyond federation, is to really educate and take a stance and fight against anti-Semitism of all forms, not only anti-Semitism, but all forms of hate. And in fact, this Labor Day weekend on Sunday, September 3rd, the Greater Reading Unity Coalition, aka GROC, of which Federation is a leading partner, we are sponsoring a diversity night with the Reading Phils. And it's a 5:15 game. And we're bringing together all of our organizations to demonstrate through our example of how we should all be united and promote an understanding of one another's beliefs and practices and whom we are. So I want to stop there. I'd request that Amanda please add to that and other areas.
Sure. So GROC does a lot of different community outreach. Last fall, we held a candidate forum for the Congressional 6th District. Again, just sort of remind people to vote, but also let them meet the candidates, let them ask the questions that were important to Berks Countyans. I think some of the other great things we did 2 years ago, we partnered with the Reading Symphony Orchestra and did the Violins of Hope program. So this was a collection of violins that had ties to the Holocaust. But we wanted it to be more than that. We wanted it to really start a conversation about individual choices and how we can work together to make positive change. So we had educational outreach. We were in 17 of the 18 school districts in the county. We had exhibits up at Kutztown University, Alvernia University, and then downtown at the Goggle Works. We had concerts. We had a ton of events and programming, and it really sparked a lot of joy in our community to really work together with community partners and do outreach and talk about these issues and how we can come together about that. And we actually just got a grant from the Grinspoon Foundation. We're going to partner with Reformed Congregation Ohev Shalom and Emmanuel United Church of Christ to do a new program for youth ages 7 to 12. It's called Berks Interfaith Passport. And the goal is to expose kids at that age when they're just so inquisitive and really want to know what's going on to Judaism, to Christianity and Islam. And by making it a welcoming environment. So we're going to introduce them to facets of their religion, and then we're going to invite them in. We're going to invite them to come to synagogue for a service, or come to church for a service, or come to the mosque for something. And then we're going to share a meal and answer the questions. And our goal is to create a warm, welcoming space, safe space, that there are no dumb questions. There are we feel that by exposing especially kids and then their parents, because they're not going to come by themselves, we can really help move forward the diversity and the inclusion and the understanding of religions and groups. And we as professionals work together all the time, I think, with different groups. But I think it's a really great opportunity to, again, kind of target those kids when they're at their most interested and vested. And I think especially with younger kids, they don't necessarily see the differences. I think adults sometimes make really strict lines separating folks, but I find with kids, they don't as much. You know, it's you're my friend, whether or not they don't really ask, you know, what are you believing in? Where do you go on Saturday? Or what do you do on Sunday morning? The kids aren't asking those questions, but it'll give them the exposure to different ideas. And I think that that's really important for us to live out, not just in our own little silos, which again, create that community in Berks County, because there's more than just these three, you know, Abrahamic faiths in Berks County. There's a lot of other groups as well. And our goal is to kind of expand and explore that.
And that's great. And that's great. You know, that the Federation and these other partner organizations are doing this to try to create understanding and harmony between the different groups. Now, what is something, and I'll let you both answer this question, what is something that you think more people should be aware of about what the Federation does in the community? Brian, why don't you take it?
Why don't I, well, I'd be remiss if I didn't speak about philanthropy. And the reason that Federation, by and large, is able to do the good that we do is through our philanthropic efforts. And we just make the effort, but it's our supporting community through their generosity that support our annual campaign that allows the Federation and Jewish Family Services and the JCC and Lakin Preschool to continue to do the good work that we do. We essentially raise money and we distribute that money on the quality programming that Amanda and I gave you just but a sampling
Right.
today, and also through scholarships, and also through awareness and safety, and overall making the lives of the people in our community better and safer.
That's wonderful. And I'll just sort of give a plug that, all of those programs that you guys have talked about, at least for my family, have been very valuable. Two of my three kids have gone to Lakin, at least for some part of their career or educational career, and we've taken advantage of all of those things. So I appreciate the philanthropy that's out there.
Thank you.
As well. And PJ Library, I asked you about that, but I'm opening an envelope from PJ Library every month in my house. But Amanda, what are some things that you think that people should be aware of about the Federation that they might not be?
Sure. I think it's our community outreach. We talked about it a little bit with Gruck, but we have really good relations with the local police, the Anti-Defamation League in Philadelphia, and we work really, really hard to combat hate in any shape or form in Berks County. There's no place for hate, and I think we stand together with our community partners. I can think of multiple examples when something happened to the LGBT Center or the Islamic and the Jewish community, and our partners really, we all kind of coalesce together and make a stand that that's just not acceptable. But I also think of other ways. Our Jewish Family Service is connected to Drexel University and partnering with those students who are here to learn about community aid and what does it look like as a social worker for the, at-risk population locally. We have really great relations with Alvernia and Albright, and just reaching the community in ways that people don't really expect us to, or they seem somewhat surprised when they find out. But I think that that's one of the great things we do. Our Reading Jewish Film Series was formerly at Fox Leaders, and we got a lot, I would say a majority non-Jewish population would come to these films because they were great films, and they learned about all the work that Federation does. So I think that's one of our hidden gems is we do a lot of community outreach, and I would say a lot of what we do is for the entire community of Berks County.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both so much for taking the time here to talk about what the Federation does, not just for the Jewish community, but for the community as a whole. If any of our listeners are looking to get more involved with the Federation, what's the best way to do that?
Sure. You can visit our website, readingjewishcommunity.org. You'll find our calendar of events, upcoming programs. You can make donations if you feel led to do so. You can also email info@jfreading.org, and you can get added to our email list and find out more about opportunities. We do have a Jewish newspaper that comes out every month, which is also located. It's also posted on our website. So that's really the best places of social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. So really there's a lot of ways for you to get in touch with us, but readingjewishcommunity.org is the best spot to get connected.
And that's the Shalom magazine, right?
Yeah, the Shalom newspaper runs every month. And
just a little shameless plug, I will be doing a Medicaid planning workshop at the JCC. We're doing more than one, but I know one is on October 18th at 1 o'clock. And I know that we're doing another one in the evening as well. Of course, now I can't find, nope, there it is. So we're doing an estate planning workshop on October 10th at 7 o'clock p.m. at the JCC building.
We're looking forward, and we'll be publicizing both.
Yes.
As we conclude our summer months.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that opportunity to speak to the community as well. Again, thank you so much for joining me today on Not Minding My Own Business.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you very much. Have a safe day.
You as well.